And welcome to today's episode of Roundtable of the Vision of Light Media. My name is Ryan Holland, and with me, as always, founder of Vision of Light Media, Duke Iqbal. And today, Duke, we have a very special guest, actor and acting coach, Mark Christian. Mark, welcome to the VLM Roundtable.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Cool. Good to have you here. So before we dive into today's topic, which I'll just share briefly, it's a topic that it's prevalent, it's ubiquitous in our society, and really even in our society more in other societies. You'll have to excuse me, my voice is a little gone today, but it's something nevertheless very present and affects most people here in the United States, and that is the topic of divorce. So we're going to be talking about that, talking about the effects of divorce, statistics. You're going to learn a lot of the numbers regarding divorce, and some of those numbers may surprise you. But before we jump in there, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your acting career, and what you're doing right now in terms of acting classes with Vision of Light Media.
Sure. Okay, sure, Ryan. My name is Mark Christian, and I've been acting for about 20 years. I do film, I do musicals, stage plays, TV series, you name it, I do it.
You want to share maybe a couple projects you have going on right now, maybe anything
Sure.
that's out and how people might be able to view some of your work?
Sure. I'm currently filming a TV series called O'Shea. We're getting ready to start filming episode 3. Episode 1 is now out on YouTube and Patreon. I'm also in a couple one-act stage plays that will be performed at Midtown Arts Center later at the end of September into through halfway through October. And I'm also filming on a couple other movies, and I will be starting another new TV series that will be filmed in Maine, probably later next year or something.
Right now we got a superstar here too.
One other thing, Mark, you say you've been in the acting for last 40 years.
20.
20 years. Okay.
Yes.
So you say you share with us that how your acting started. I know you went to some college in New York,
Mm-hmm.
Share with a little bit so people will know your background.
Sure. How I started in acting, I pretty much was born with the natural talent, God-given talent. So I've been very blessed in that regard. But I never really knew what I could do to hone that talent. So I didn't do a theater degree in college. I did go to New York and did live up there for 3 years. But even prior to that, I had studied at 4 different conservatories for Meisner technique and method acting and for musical theater. And I also used to work with an improv theater company called the Complete Theater Company.
Well, Mark, thank you for everything. I know you are a good asset with VLM, and I know all those youngsters out there, and we are creating this platform for the inner city youth group, and we will do the talent for them. And thank you for your time they spend with those kids.
Sure.
And train them. And I saw some of you train. Maybe someday we will do live shot on your training, and we will put it up, and people can see who you are, what you do.
Yeah, and how can people find you online?
Sure. Well, you can find me on Facebook at Mark Christian. Also, my acting website is Mark Christian Official, www.markchristianofficial.com.
Awesome.
But he also in our VLM website too.
Yeah, VLMmedia.com.
All my acting classes are scheduled on the website as well.
Okay, fantastic, good deal. Well, do you want to jump into today's topic of divorce, Duke? Where do you want to start the conversation?
Well, this is a very touchy and it's a very serious matter. My biggest take in on the divorce, it is not only the family, it affecting the children. and because of the situation that, last episode we talked about child protective service, the CPS, and how everything happening, and so that's the reason on today's topic. I think that go into with that very important subject because it plays side by side.
Right.
And I thank you for my team. They did the great research and they give me some numbers, and I'm looking at the number, just mind-boggling when I'm looking at what's been happening. The good news is that the number is saying that is declining versus 1996. 1960 to 1990, it was the number was very high, but now it's slowly declining. But I think so. Even if it's declining, mean you can look at the two-way. To me, I think the number is still going higher because population expand, and when you say population expand, the divorce rate ratio goes by the population versus 1960 population.
Right.
So if you're comparing that one, so we really can justify that is it decreasing or is it the same or it is climbing up.
Right, because it's such a wide expanse of time.
Time on
Of
that, and
that,
also
that timeline that's been.
in the population the way they do,
Mm-hmm.
My couple of taking that what happening in the divorce, which I'm looking at, that younger generation versus older generation. I'm going to talk about the older generation. That statistic is saying that people are aged 50 to 65 having such a high divorce rate.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising when
Yeah,
I was looking at
and-
these statistics. You
and-
kind of tend to expect the opposite of that. Perhaps they're older, so they're more kind of old school, a little
Right.
more old fashioned in that regard, which is, you're going to have a much lower divorce rate, I guess, probably pre-1960 at
Mhm.
least. But yeah, it's kind of high, and even higher than some of the younger generations.
And that is my opinion. What I'm saying, you may disagree, or I think so. That number is higher because the way our society, the way our culture, that coming out, and you can look at in these days the pornography and the sex marketing everywhere. In tip of your fingers on your cell phone, your computer, anywhere you can get in, and I think that is a big factor. When you get older, sometimes your mind play game with you, and then you see right in front of your face temptation, and before on 60, we didn't have those things, I mean, you want to get something on those kind of, you got to find a way to drive, so difficult, but now it's not at all, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
instantaneous
Yeah.
whenever you want it, essentially.
Yeah,
Right,
and then look at that, our marketing in the movie and everything, we are, marketing heavily on that, and, it tempting people's mind, and I think that's probably the one reason that is the oldest is climbing high.
Right.
And I guess they want to go back to living on age 16 or playing the game. They feel like they're lost. Now is in the end on the fingertips. Which is I think so is very wrong. But
I mean, do you think that I'd love, both of y'all's opinion on this is even just the idea of marriage and what it is, because biblically marriage is a covenant that a man and a woman make before God, a commitment to till death do us part and that kind of thing, and that kind of thing is no longer the prevailing view of our society.
Absolutely.
And so to me, if you don't, because the thing about when marriage is defined as something that comes from God, an institution that comes from God, it's eternal, it's external, it's not subjective, it's not just dependent on our whims. It's like the moral law. Like lying is wrong, and it's not wrong because we feel like it's wrong. Lying is wrong because it's a universal, external, objective moral law, right? That exists, that comes from God, that God we're made in His image, and so so His morality is transmitted to us, and so we agree, right? Lying is wrong. And it's the same thing with marriage. I think that it is a morality, is an institution. It's something spiritual, really, that's given to us by God. But if we don't view it like that anymore, if it's just something that we do because it's a part of our culture, and then it can just be kind of thrown away for any reason or any time, you know what I'm saying?
I think is that what happening in cultural way, that everything is changing in the society and the culture, and people are very, very, not you said the verbal, they don't want to talk about, teaching. It used to be Bible study, Bible teaching, but now you barely hear those things anyway. Look like it's
because the norms are changing.
Yeah, socially is disappearing, exactly. And you go a lot of churches these days, they don't want to talk about either, and to me, I feel most of the church these days become a commercialized. It's all about the money, all about, some of the church I feel become a social club.
Yeah.
You can just go Sunday just for socially, to mingle with the people,
right.
but not actually.
But not to be there,
not to be there.
Not to be worshiping
the God,
our Savior.
And if you look at that book of Genesis, it said when Adam and Eve, and how Eve came. Took her from Adam's wounds from the
right.
inside.
Woman was born from a man.
Man's Adam, so
we're all equal.
So equal at that, and not only equal, because I believe that when we get married, it's not coincident, because when Adam and Eve was created, Eve created through Adam's body part, So my wife, when I married, if you believe the biblical way, she had my body part, that's the reason we got married. Otherwise, I wouldn't have somebody else to. I mean, I believe, I born in far away from other country called Bangladesh. It takes 2 days to fly back there. And when I was a child, who knew my bride over here? And look at how God brought me in, and we got married.
Well, we're gonna have to do a show just about your story, because this guy's got quite the story of how he came to Christ, and so.
So I mean, those the whole thing, But the point is that the roundtable discussion we have here, that we open up, and we're gonna keep move forward with that different subject, different topic. I don't want to be pointing fingers to anybody. We're not pointing fingers to nobody. Right. We're not saying who's fault, who's not fault. We are talking about it's a cancer. It's slowly killing our society, everything up. Mm-hmm. And what can we do to stop this virus and this cancer? I mean, that's what I call, and what can we do? So our thing is that we are opening up the discussion, And if anybody wants to chime in, have an opinion, you can go on Facebook and chime into the Facebook and make your opinion, what you think and how you think. And more we get feedback from you guys, it will energize more us to be talking some more. And we want to be, the dialogue need to start in the whole society. Everybody needs just talking, especially the church. That they need to be start talking. They need to start teaching the young kid and people that what is the meaning of life, what is the meaning of discipline, the love, the faithfulness, what is those meaning? Even it doesn't matter what religions you came from, those are the principle. Love, it doesn't have to be any special religions that believe the love for everybody. Faithfulness is for everybody, because that builds your character, who you are, and respect the other one, to show your respect to the other, and obey to your elders, I don't care, is it my dad or your dad or somebody's dad, I should obey as you're older. He's your dad, you know, and I had to look at him same way to my dad too. You know, that's our responsibility to help them, take care of them, and respect them. And so we're not teaching those things in these days in our young kid and all the society. We are promoting different stuff rather than the core value on the family. What is the core value on the family? Let's go back on that divorce thing that what we're talking about. Number on your hand right there, you see. It is the astounding numbers, okay, and
right.
What affecting the family, how they're affecting the family. The other issue I looked at, that temptation, that we have so many temptation, it's right in our face, every morning you wake up, you get out on the, step out on the, at your workplace, at the grocery place you go, any place you go, it's just like
it's like a buffet of
and
temptation.
everybody just keep like a voucher and they want to be grabbed,
Right.
And my question is that, it comes to the point, same thing, that family value. If you raise your kid to the family value, to respect, the love, and faithfulness, all this stuff, that will stop, My question is that out there, when you see people are married, even let's start with the workplace. Workplace you go, you see the married woman or married guy over there, and then you see somebody unmarried will come up and start floating. Wants to go on. But my question is that why? He's already been married, he's already with somebody. There's plenty single there. Go out there. Don't try to grab the one and try to destroy their family.
Right.
And that's been happening, and that
Don't be a home wrecker.
Yeah, that's right. That's the old school term,
Don't
right?
be the home wrecker.
Home wrecker.
That just make my
Male
stomach
or female.
sick,
Well, and that's the thing about sin. Like what you're saying, be logical, be reasonable about this. Like, and that's what the scripture says, right? The wisdom from above.
But sin is sin.
Is pure. It's reasonable, full of mercy and good fruit. But to your point, sin isn't.
Is sin.
It's not. It really isn't rational. It really doesn't make much sense. It's like, why are you going after this married guy or this married lady?
Right.
When
what does this person have that you can't get from somebody else? Why does this particular person, male, female, whoever it is, has to be that person instead of making an effort to find someone else who's way better for you and isn't married either?
Well, and when you look at
he or she might be the hottest thing on earth, but they're taken. You can't have them. You cannot have them.
Here's the thing, I feel that way.
Pretty simple.
It should be simple, but people make it difficult.
But here's the thing, Mark. Think about that. And I told everybody, and my friend, and if I see my friend, anybody doing that thing, I feel it's my responsibility to stop my friend. Hey, man.
Sure.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
She's being married.
Get your priorities straight.
Stop. So that's the value of the thing. And then other thing is that, this is the way I judge myself. If I want to do something to somebody and I turn the table back to me and I see, okay, if somebody did to me the same thing, how do I going to feel it?
Yeah.
What effect going to me?
Right.
And then I will, look into other end too. So if I'm thinking, okay, I'm not married today, she's married, I don't care, but she's very hot, I'm going to go after this girl time and go over there, and one thing, I broke the family.
Yeah.
My intention was not to go with her. My intention was that I just want to go, play around a little bit.
And that's where selfishness comes into play.
And then my question is that kind of person out there, think about that. What you doing, and what some point that somebody did to you in the later life. What consequence are you going to feel that time?
I mean, it seems like you're really just talking about the golden rule, right? I mean,
Yeah.
treat others
Yes,
the
as
way that you
you
would
would.
want to be treated, which is
Yeah,
a basic
you know.
maxim of our society, not to mention the fact that it comes straight from Jesus himself.
Right, but it's a
Um,
basic principle. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
that everyone should
And
know.
Right.
and you know, we call gossip, you know,
Mhm.
and it's saying over here, the statistic saying people are 75% more likely to end their marriage if a friend is divorced. Think about that. You know, that, and I'm seeing it happening all the time. You know, somebody got a divorce and then they become they got a vendetta against married people, and they start keep anybody go. I mean, they're talking their friend, anybody else, and the numbers saying 75% people get divorced because of
Friend.
that friend already been divorced. The friend is convincing, you know,
Right.
rather
right.
than
convincing him that it's not
Yeah.
that it's not
no, you know,
a good thing.
Good thing, you know, man. You know, if he's do something, you talk about, oh, and I don't know why you stay with this guy. I don't know why you stay with this girl, man. You don't need to walk away. As your friend, you know, or stuff, you should not do that because something happened in your life, and you going through the trauma. You seeing what happening. You seeing what kind of effect happening in your kid. That should be waking call for you, but it don't give you right to go and destroy other people's family, your friend. If you call somebody your friend, you shouldn't do that to your friend.
Right, but I think that there is a fine difference between whether you're the friend or the person about to get divorced because of that friend. There's two sides. There's two sides to that because there's also the bad part of being convinced by that friend that you should get divorced. But if it's not right for you to do, or you're not in a situation where you need to, that everything else has failed, that there's no way out of this unless it's divorce, then you can proceed to a biblical divorce where there's no way that this marriage is going to go anywhere. I mean, it's just you're so at odds with each other. You are unequally yoked. You just don't have the best interest for each other in this covenant together. And I think with a biblical divorce, you can as a friend give them a little advice on, like, hey, I can recognize, or more of a discerning nature of recognizing that maybe your friend is in a bad situation and the only way out of it is to do a biblical type of divorce, even though there's not a legal name to it.
I mean, I know things happen in people's life, you know, and we're not saying that you want to stay married in a hostile situation,
Right.
or in the
Right.
abuse situation, you know.
Right.
But then again, the people are out there that they're doing the abuse, you know. I got a message for you guys, you know. That is called the respect. You know, you think so you can abuse your wife, or wife thinks abuse your husband. At some point in your life, it'll come back to you too. It's all this called karma. You know, karma follow you. That's what I believe, you know. And so my question is that when you take somebody on your life and be a partner, and there's no such a thing that I'm upper than you, you're upper than me. It should be equal.
Right.
Okay?
Equal partners.
Equal partnership, equal thing. And marriage is not is easy, you know. But when you decide to get married, you will have to mentally plan your mind that you need to change your behavior, because when you are a bachelor, you living one lifestyle. When
Right.
you become a married, it's totally different lifestyle.
You become a team and you work together.
And you have to shifting yourself from that life to this level. And yeah, it takes time to adjust that lifestyle. But you decide to make that happen, so it is going to be your responsibility to make that change. Not only you, both, husband and wife both has to come and have to start changing their behavior and try to see and solution to meet in the common ground each other to give up something. Okay, so for example, when I was bachelor, I went hanging out, drink all the time with my friend. Now I'm married, and I still love to go do it, but my wife, she doesn't want me to. So my thing is that I need to change. So I need to give up. Same thing. Say, my wife, she may be hanging around or on the phone all the time with her friend. But now that bothers me all the time. So what I say, equally have to come both ways, and she expect me to change my behavior. Drinking, give up my friend, I'm going to give up, but then I'm expecting for her to do the same thing too.
Right.
And if she can't do that and I'm trying to do it, so that's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah, you both have to be on the same page and work together.
And work together and make that marriage happen, make that family happen. And my other biggest thing, that if you are not that willing to take this responsibility, then don't get married. Okay? Especially when you bring the child in this world.
Oh yeah.
When the child you bring it in, the whole concept will change. It is not anything but you anymore. It is going
It's
to
about
be
them.
that child. Raise that kid, responsibility for that kid, But and that's what's happening. The broken home affecting those kids.
Right.
Yanking out from the home, and they're going to the different place, all this stuff. If you look at the number over here, Ryan, the biggest number is that's second time marriage. It's the biggest number that second time marriage. They said the second marriage have a higher rate of divorce.
Yeah. So while the rate for first marriages is, and again, pardon my voice, 40 to 50%. Second marriage statistics show this increases to 67% for second marriages and a whopping 75% for third marriages. So each time you get married, statistically, now I was surprised by this because my parents were divorced and they both remarried. And now my dad passed away, but he stayed married to his second wife until he passed away. My mom is still married to her husband. So in my experience, it's actually better on a second marriage. But my experience is just limited. But when you look at it and that's the thing with statistics, it may or may not match up with your personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. It's really, I was really surprised by that on a whole, it's the more you get married, the much more likely you are to get a divorce. I mean, it goes up exponentially.
Yeah, I think that's actually an excellent point because not everyone is the same. I mean, people are not the same whether they've gone through 2, 3, 4, 5 marriages. Maybe they've just had some bad luck, but there are certain people who maybe they have to have that third marriage to really find the one that they can really spend the rest of their life with and be able to respect and honor to the very end. And maybe they had bad marriages from the first two. That's not always the case, but sometimes that can happen. And I think in your case, you had a good experience with that, primarily because it just happened to work out.
Right.
Not all of them are that way,
Yeah.
and you're very blessed to have that, and that did happen.
What are you talking about? The numbers, percentage of the number.
Right. Yeah.
Is a number,
Exactly.
But they're talking about in the greater number. Why?
Right.
And here's the thing: why the second marriage and third marriage is a higher number. Think about that. When you marry and
Right, because you devoted so much of your time from the very beginning that you're kind
for,
of
say 8
wasted.
years to 12 years to 15 years with somebody. You become each other, the bonded, and get used to,
Mm-hmm.
and now suddenly you got separate. but your whole system, your whole character is already been tied into that last 12, 15 years. Now you got this other person come up, and you expected that person going to be the one you spent 12 years. It cannot be.
Right, you
I
kind of
mean,
have to rebuild
You have-
everything.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that rebuild don't happen.
True.
And it crashes the both ways, you know, because you want to be her or he, the one you spend, 12, 13 years, and this person is not, cannot be at all. And for the beginning, the whole negative start coming up, and every time you look at it, you're looking at your old way, not the new way.
Yeah.
And so
And I mean, to me, that kind of makes me think of the idea of kind of expectations, and the expectations that husbands and wives can put on one another. And it's very interesting, when you look in Ephesians 5, where it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. After that, it says, wives, be submissive to your husbands, respect your husbands. That's not a very popular scripture. But what's interesting about those scriptures is that it doesn't say, husbands, love your wives, just like Jesus went to the cross, if she respects you, if she's submissive to you. It just says, be that way.
No matter how she is.
Right.
Just love her because
just love her
because you've committed to her.
And like what is sin? But ultimately, it is selfishness. And I think if we as married people can move away of what we expect of our wives or of our husbands, and rather, what does God expect of me in this relationship, and living selflessly and not living with all of these expectations, many of which can be very unrealistic. Then we move from I think a place of almost entitlement to a place of service, to a place of obedience to the Lord, which really is freedom. Because when you're constantly expecting stuff of the other person, especially unrealistic stuff, it can keep you in bondage. You can't control them. You cannot control them.
Exactly.
And that's what married people have to learn the hard way. You cannot control your husband or your wife.
No.
But what you can control is
and
yourself.
You can't change them either.
You can't change
they
them.
have to want to change out of respect for you, for the wife, or even the husband. It can be the vice versa. It could be the wife doing that to the husband, being respectful to him because you've gone through, some issues or some things that that wasn't founded right.
But what I'm saying is that if we can move away from what I expect of my spouse to, Lord, what do you expect of me? And let me follow that. That is freedom. That is life. And if you want to see your spouse change,
it will.
That will impact. What does it say in the book of I believe it's 1 Peter, where it says, if Peter is talking to wives with husbands who are not believers, and what does he say? He says that if any of them are disobedient to the word, they may be won without a word by the behavior of their wives as they observe your chaste and respectful behavior. It's this idea of, I'm not gonna browbeat my spouse, or you should be doing this, you should be doing that, I expect this, or whatever. No, it's this idea of this quiet obedience to the Lord. I think it goes the other way as well. Like, what if a husband has an unbelieving wife, is constantly browbeating her with that, or loving her, serving her, being there for her, unconditional love, all those things that God is for us. And I just think, especially if anybody's watching, and if your marriage is on the rocks or something like that, or maybe you feel like you want to bring your marriage to the next level, and I'm speaking to myself here, okay? I mean, I need to hear this, as much as anybody, but
I think we all need to hear
yeah, I
really.
mean, but if I can move away, from what I expect of her and then move to what he expects of me, and walking in that, man, that's freedom, and that is going to change things.
And also another thing, right?
Good point.
I mean, I look at different way too. I mean, biblical side, you absolutely right, thing. And then when you say freedom, these days we using that freedom concept totally different way. And freedom doesn't mean that I'm feel like I'm above you or you above me. And it's a lot of conflict is coming up this marriage these days. You know that you'll see you have a higher degree than your wife or your husband, or your wife a higher degree than you. Then wife thinks, okay, I'm got a higher degree than you. Then you listen to me. You know, I feel like, you know, or I'm making more money than you making more money.
Right.
You know, admit, you know, but in the marriage that shouldn't be. They never should have come that point at
Right.
all.
It's always
that,
a conflict
you know, you
with
always
something.
look at each other, but that's happening in society, and it is not that because we are promoting that thing. If y'all see in the Hollywood movie all the stuff happening these days, you know that a rich girl, married to the husband came to poor family, and she always wants to dominate her husband because he came from a poor family. He have no voice, I mean that's what we're promoting. The other thing, I look at the whole concept. I tell people all the time, all my friends, a lot of times you said, okay, we're not getting along, and I think I'm gonna go somewhere else and find somebody, and I'll divorce, because rather than to work stuff, and I tell people, okay, so you're gonna be walking away your 12 years marriage or 14 year, whatever time, because you gotta have an issue, okay? And you cannot come to the mutual that issue. Question is that you're gonna walk away and going to outside get somebody. How do you know that somebody you're going out there, that somebody is going to be worse than the issue that you dealing? I'm not saying any worse. The issue you dealing, same issue, going to be more complicated than somebody that you out there you got it. It's no guarantee on that part, So you're gambling on your life on that whole issue. Meantime, you're destroying the whole family, your kid, everything up, and so that's the thing. I mean, let me share with one point. One of my best friend, he's my neighbor. Okay, I love to date him, and he and his girlfriend, they've been dating for a long, long time, and he practically raised, her daughters, from very young, and she now the teenager now. Several years ago, they had a argument something, so they decided to go separate way. Both of them went the separate way, and when I heard it, I talked to him. I said, why can't you work it out, man? You guys been for so long, And he said, man, I try, and I couldn't do anything, And I said, I still want, pray for you all the time, and I hope you guys can make it back, So he was out for 2 years, and he moved out, and he was dating a different girl, and same thing, she was dating a different guy, and then they came back, and they got married, So
Wow.
2 weeks ago, I was standing in his garage, I was talking, and I said, man, tell me, and I'm so happy, proud that you guys got back to it. And he said, man, thank you. I know you pray for me a whole lot, And I said, okay, let me ask you something. That 2 years you was out there, you was dating other girls, and she was out there dating other people. I said, what you found out? And he said, man, it's not what you thought. I said, why you said that? He said, I thought maybe it's totally different, but it's not. It's not worth it to go on that route. And
Totally different. You mean being single? You mean being out of a
single,
relationship for a couple years?
We're talking, going to different girls, seeing different girls. He thought he'll have it better than they spend time with this girl for almost 15-something years,
Right.
And he didn't find that thing out there,
Right.
He's totally different. What he's looking for is not there, And same thing, she was looking for. She didn't have fun, so they get back and they got married and they happily now. So
Yeah.
I asked him, and then he said, no, people think, and I asked him, I said, would you be interested to come one day to talk about that, what you witnessed yourself for 2 years out there, maybe that will be educated for people out there,
Yeah.
you know, if they can listen.
Mhm.
And he said he will, and I was invited to come today, but unfortunately he had the surgery, and so he's out for next 6 weeks.
Okay.
So he couldn't make it.
So
you know.
stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. All right, stay right here at VLM Media, and perhaps we can get this guy. You know, that's really amazing, and I'm just unbelievably personally blessed by that story. I think a lot of people might go, oh, you know, if I could just be free, then I could just go date, and I could just go do whatever, and it's just a lie. It's a lie, you know. And I'd love to know the details of, you know, what he thinks. So I'm looking forward to hearing that from him. But a lot of times, you know, if there's one thing, and I think this is proof in our culture, that the enemy does not want. He does not want strong marriages. He does not want strong families. And he wants anything other than the biblical family. I mean, especially if you look at television, you look at Hollywood, it's like, you know, any other family, you know, type but that. I mean, there are some kind of traditional marriages that depicted in Hollywood. I'm not saying there's not any, but there's been a big,
very few.
Yeah, very
Very few.
Yeah, very few. And so I think what Satan can do is he can put these thoughts in people's heads. It's like, oh, you know, you're trapped here. You're trapped,
Right.
and it's more fun out there, and you can be more free, and you can date around, and you can do this, and it really is a lie. Like having a good marriage and a good home and a family, that is what we were made for.
Yeah.
And so that is what is going to be the most fulfilling. That is what is going to be, we're going to thrive the most in that. And we're going to feel the loss when that goes away. And there's going to be, whereas there's a fulfillment in that, there's going to be an emptiness once it's broken away. Now you can try to fill that emptiness in all these different ways out in the...
Yeah. It'll never be the same. It'll never be the same.
Yeah.
Never.
No, it
Never.
will not. And when we just look back and we go, you know what? Every breath that I have is a gift from God. I'm not owed a single breath. But look at me. I've got a wife. I've got kids. I don't deserve my next breath, much less that, you know. And then you can maybe we can have a better perspective, you know, on what we have and go, oh my gosh. Like I say this every day. Practically every day I say, I'm the most blessed man in the world. And I think if all of us, if we have that attitude toward ourselves, toward our condition, our state in life, then we're going to be far less likely to think, oh, I need to go, you know, do this or that or whatever, because I'm blessed, you know, right where I am. You know? Now, don't get me wrong. If I was single, you know, I would be looking for, you know, a significant other, but I'm not, and I'm married, and I most certainly want to stay that way. But yeah, we're just, if we look at our state, we go, wow, we're just extremely blessed. You know, you look at what's going on in the world, especially living where we live and stuff, like, we're blessed. And if we can live in that mindset, then it'll help stop some of that.
It is, yeah. You know, we are blessed every single second because for His blessing, I'm still here.
That's right.
Every breath you taking as His blessing. And
That's
if
right.
you take away blessing, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I thank every day for every single moment because He's
That you have on earth. Yeah.
giving the blessing on that. What I just said, you know, work it out your marriage, you know. If you have a problem, you know, take the help, you know, ask for help.
Get the I was
Ask
about
for
to say
help.
that. Get the help.
Ask for
Take the
help, you
initiative.
know. Don't get it too much hard-headed. Go to the counseling. Doesn't mean
Exactly.
going to the
Try
counseling
to
mean-
work on your marriage.
It mean that, oh, I'm going to counseling, you know, I don't want to. Don't think about what people are going to say. What your friend is not your friend.
Exactly.
It's your family,
Just
your
because
life.
you're going through marriage counseling or any type of
Yeah,
counseling
you know.
doesn't make you less of a person.
No. And
Or ungodly or anything.
It's a very godly thing to do, actually.
Because
just like I said, the
well,
friend
it's
that
a human
they
thing
talk.
to do.
Yeah.
The friend they talk, you know, and that's why I said, you know, at some point we all need to be put those kind of print in the side on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you keep doing it, okay, in our same group, our cultural friend, okay, we all friend, you know. For example, Ryan, Mike, you are my best friend, you know. If I see you keep going with the woman, married woman, left and right, you know, my as a friend to stop you.
Yeah.
And if I can stop
Get your head right.
Yeah, if I can stop you,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be cut you loose. You know, put you on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some point you will feel it that hey, I'm just by myself. Everybody walk away. It will be working call for you that hey, I need to change. You know,
Yeah.
and if you come up and I do high five with you, you know, you went to the woman
And ignoring that.
and ignoring that thing that
Fact, yeah.
how bad that you did, and you're never going to be changed.
Mhm.
So this is for everybody out there. Your friend, give the right advice to your friend. You know, don't ever try to break somebody's family off. You know, there's plenty other people out there not married. You know, just like you said, find somebody. You know, don't need to go. You know, and then.
But don't just find anyone. Find the one that's right for you.
Right,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Don't just go for any
I mean,
Joe
you
Blow
want
or
to
any
find somebody,
Jane Sally.
look somebody, you know, and then you feel comfortable, then you go, you know.
Right.
I mean, take your
If
time.
you can really
know.
connect with them
Yeah,
on every
you know.
level, godly level, normal level, any type of level,
And,
then
look
it's meant
at
to
this.
be.
There's a number in saying children of divorce are more likely to become a divorce. Would you believe that? So when you take that chance, your life, you're not only destroying yourself sometime, you're also destroying your kid. And as the number said, children of divorce are more likely to become a divorce.
Right.
Because-
I mean that's true. I mean I know statistics say that, and that is kind of that is true. I mean that can happen, but there's also kind of integrating into that. There are some children that because they might have grown up with divorced parents or around friends with divorced parents, whatever, and maybe they've made it a point for themselves personally. I'm not going to be like them. I'm not going to be what my parents did. I don't want to end up divorced. I'm going to be better than them. So I'm going to make it a point to work on my marriage if I'm already married, or when I do get married, that I will be determined to be there for them.
So that's the point. That's the point that we need to start talking.
Right.
We need to start open the conversation and start talking with among us. You know, you have a friend going through tough time. Don't advise the friend, hey, you know, just get a divorce.
Yeah.
Help the friend.
Right.
See what will happen, you know.
See if there's a way it
Way,
can be resolved.
Resolved.
And
you know, Ryan, I can
until the last resort.
talk about civil, you know, that I am totally against divorce. Because my biggest is that it's not only that what happened in those kids and what those kids, just like say, divorce children does the same thing what the parent did.
Sure.
And it's just like a cycle. And at some point this cycle needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
And if we don't help each other to stop the cycle, or look at the country, where the country will go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can share with my close friend, you know, across this table, my godson sitting right there. You know,
Producer.
you know,
Producer Adam.
You know, his dad and mom went through the same situation. You know, there was off for a whole year, and I hold his dad. I practically hold him down, try to be work it through.
Hold him accountable for his.
Yes, any chance I have, you know, sometimes he get mad with me, he walk away, but I didn't let him go. I keep hammering.
That's called good friend.
Yeah, they got back. They got back, you know, and her mom and dad. I mean, they're happily, you know. He just retired not too long ago.
Awesome.
I mean, and they're awesome now, getting all the stuff, you know. And other day I was talking, you know, and he thanked me. He said, "Man, you know, I don't know what I would have done without you, man. You keep me holding down,
Yeah.
you know."
Kept him
And that's
grounded.
the friend do for friend.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In my own life, you know, I don't mind to share with that. My wife tried to divorce me twice. Twice. Because I had a problem, you know, and I make that change.
Mhm.
I made that change, my problem. I mean, it's not a bad problem I have, you know, and you know, I share with you that I love my wife, you know, I love my kid, you know. It's the thing that I bought into those corporate side, you know, and all about money, prestige, and power, and you know, that's all I was chasing, you know. And my wife didn't want to, you know? And I didn't thought about it. I thought making a good money, that's going to be happen, but
Being able
but
to continue to support her and support your
you know,
kids.
I mean, I was making a heck of a money good, you know, overseas market. I was overseas all the time, and I was wrong, because money is not everything.
Yeah.
And people out there, you know, they think it's the money, you know. I now these days, you know, my whole life, Brian, it changed. And I told everybody today, you know, I don't care about the money, anything anymore at all. It don't tempt me anymore. It used to be, you know, when I see my friend drive BMW or Mercedes, I want to have it myself too. You know, but now these days, it don't.
You don't have to have one.
Doesn't matter.
It don't.
Right.
It never goes to my head at all.
Right.
You know.
I mean, I love my
Yeah.
Volkswagen
Yeah.
Jetta.
You know, I mean,
I mean,
I'm
it's a
happy
great
where
car.
I am, you know, because my thing is that I am totally devoted myself to Christ, and I want to be lived through His life,
Yeah.
and I want to be shared with my life to the other, and I want to make my skill to teach my kid, my grandson, my godson over here fixing to get married soon, you know, it is.
Congrats.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So this is for everybody. You know, it is not for me anymore.
Right.
You know, my thing is that only thing I care when I'm going to leave from this place, that my kid, my grandkid, my godson, you know, they can hear from their friend, hey, you know, your dad was a good person, good man, you know.
Mhm.
You know, that's all I wanted from.
Yeah.
You know, not keep the bad thing for myself and my kid. They're gonna have to hear all their life that, hey, your dad was such a horrible person, did this one, did this one. That's, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not the point that I want to be. My point is that when you devote your life to the Christ, you know, you gotta live like a Christ.
Mhm.
Can we be making 100%? No, we can't, because we are living sinful life.
We
Even
will never
Christ
be.
said
We'll
that,
never,
we'll
be
like
perfect.
that.
Never be
But-
perfect, but
But you have to be practice and try. And if you do, you may gonna make it to 80 to 90. But if you don't try and you say, I follow Christ, okay, what are you doing? Are you doing anything? No. I mean that's the thing. So those are the things need to come to the culture, to teaching, respect, love each other. I don't care what religious we are, we're not. We all brother and sister. We all. You know, you may have different philosophy, you have your different thought, but I have to respect you. You have to respect mine. Okay, and that's not happening. You know, and come to the point of the divorce. You know, this is to me is mind-boggling that if we don't try to solve this issue, to think about what's going to happen in our family, you know, and so it is responsible to everybody to take care. It is not just one person's responsibility. Responsibility start at your home for yourself.
Yeah.
It is responsibility to our community, responsibility a church, friend. When you see somebody having trouble, don't ignore it.
Help them.
As a Christ, your job to help pull them out. Because I'm okay, my life is okay, everything is fine, so I'm not have to worry. What something happened to me,
Right.
Nobody gonna be for me either.
Right.
So sometimes people doesn't think all this stuff.
If you're being self-centered and just thinking about what you get out of it and not worrying about what someone else should be getting out of it because of you. I mean, who knows they could, because of you, their life could be completely changed.
It is.
For the better. They could go a completely different direction. I mean, you could never know what other people go through unless you take the time to be there for them. And I mean, you don't always have to mentor them, but it's a good start. It's a good way to keep them grounded, focused on the right things at hand, and make them a better person.
I mean, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You are 100% right on that. And
Well, Duke, is there, I'm looking at some of these, U.S. divorce rates compared to the rest of the world, and I didn't realize that America has the third highest divorce rate in the world. How many countries are there? Like 200 something countries, and we're number 3. That's pretty mind-boggling, especially given our Judeo-Christian heritage and foundation as a nation. And of course, obviously, we saw in the 20th century secularism, so-called progressivism, kind of really gain prominence, and that, of course, has had an impact on that. But and it says here, Belarus has the second highest, and then Maldives, the highest divorce rate. So, we have our work cut out for us, right? I mean, if this is obviously culturally, about 50% of marriages end in divorce, and then second and third marriage, the percentages go higher.
But here's the point, Ryan. In the statistics say that United States is the third largest divorce, But if you calculate with the population by those other two countries, United States is going to be number 1. Because those country population is not that much United population. So if you look at the ratio on the population wise, I mean, that's what we're coming up. We're coming at the third.
Because we have a bigger population.
That's why.
Yeah.
With the ratio type. So if you put with that, formula, then United States is number 1.
Wow.
That's still quite shocking.
Yeah, we really
even know that.
Yeah, I know. We really need a move of God. We need to do the things that you were talking about in terms of being light and being there for one another and to help one another when we see. I had some friends that were going through really hard times, and we tried to help, and it didn't work out. And you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but we can at least make that effort, and be. Cain asked God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" We don't know what God said after that, but I think the implication was yes. You are your brother's keeper, and so in respect to our marriage, and I think we know. I mean, if there's one thing that the Satan, the world, has their sights on, it's our marriages. And the good news is that in Jesus Christ, we are overcomers. The scripture says, greater is he who is in us than he that is in the world. And that includes our marriages as well. That's every aspect of our life. Greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. You know, Jesus said, don't fear those who can kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul. Rather fear him who is able to destroy both body and soul in hell. Like, so we have this power, you know, for those of us who has put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ, put our lives into his hands and have the Holy Spirit living within us. Like, we have power, and we need to understand that authority, understand that power, live in that power, and say, you know, yeah, the devil might be targeting my marriage, but Jesus is greater. Jesus is eternally great. He's God. You know, I mean, he is all powerful. And so now it might be tough, it might be difficult, it might be a bit of a bloodbath at times in terms of the war in the spiritual realm.
Right.
But greater is he who is in us than he that is in the world.
Yep.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
And I mean, he said, Book of John, you know, that, you know, when the apostle asked him, you know, I said, you know, you can't leave. You know, he said that, you know, because I had to leave so he can come.
That's right.
Which is Holy Ghost.
That's right.
And you let the Holy Ghost to come to you. You know, he's not going to just come to you. That's why I say that don't be just a spiritual just for the Sunday.
Right.
You know, that's what's happening. Your faithness and humbleness, it have to be 24/7 on you as a Christ. And you have to be let your, you know, to invite the Holy Ghost to have come to you.
That's right.
And lead you and walk you through every day's path. And that's what my prayer every morning. I leave the house and I said, you know, I'm going to work, you know, I'm going to work for you. It's your work, you know,
Amen.
please lead me in the right path, your way, not my way.
Yeah.
It's your way, and bless the day for me.
Your will be done.
And I pray to bless him too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's the biblical part we talk about, you know, and so no, I mean, this is the very powerful thing, you know. I mean, I can share a lot of stuff, you know, my own witness through my life, what happened in my friend, you know, and what happened in my other friend, you know. I mean, we can talk all day long. But the problem is that when you have a problem, my thing is that as a society, the community need to get start involved and talking. The church needs to be positive way to stop and mentoring people. You know, when you see somebody in trouble, they need to reach out to them, not just to walk away because I'm okay, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm, you know, thank you for watching us, you know, and we are very thankful that God gave us this ability to share, to mentor each other, and we will continue going to doing those kind of talk. And people out there, please join us with the Facebook, and if you have any comment, anything, please leave us the comment. That would be great to us to look into, see how you guys think about this episode, and let us know and give us, you know, idea that if you feel that's something that we need to talk about, send us, and we will look into on that, and then we will do the research, and maybe we will bring the topic and start talking in our show.
Yeah, we'd love to answer y'all's questions, anything that you have. So definitely leave a comment in whatever platform you're watching this on, and also make sure visit us online, VLMmedia.com as well. And you know, the topics are going to be changing from week to week, but we're also, you know, we're just starting the conversations, like you're saying, Duke, on so many of these topics, and so we plan on revisiting them as well. So we're kind of laying the foundation, I think, on a lot of these topics, and then we can build on that for sure over time. So, well, gentlemen, it has been a phenomenal time. Mark, Christian, thank you so much for joining us. And again, you know, Mark's acting classes are at VLMmedia.com, so you can check those out there, and of course, where you can follow us online, and everything that's going on with Vision of Light Media is there as well. So, gentlemen, one more thing
you're forgetting, because we are going to be starting talk show.
Oh, we're letting the cat out of the bag on that now.
And
Okay.
it's
Okay.
coming up soon. We pretty much, the project pretty much already done, and I'm hoping by end of September and no later than beginning of October, that episode will come up. The show called Mr. Nobody, I Am Nobody, and keep follow us with the Facebook, and we will let you guys know when it will coming up. And I think that will be very fantastic excitement for that talk show. We will talk about different other topic too. So that's going to be another platform.
But it's going to be different, a very different talk show than this format. So stay tuned, guys.
Not
It's going to
only
be great.
Finally we got everything done with that's the non-profit, DH3. It's ready to go. That's full-blown production company. We are going to start shooting that thing probably the same time, and that is going to be our YouTube channel. Going to be running on that channel, and we're going to have a lot of things coming up on that. And if anybody out there interested for acting, please reach out through VLM, and we are going to be needing a lot of actors. If you feel that you can act with that, please give us a call, and we, like I said, we are open to everybody, and our job is to give everybody the chance that if they want to be somebody.
Awesome, wonderful. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here at the Vision of Light Media Roundtable.
And have a blessed night.
Have a blessed day, everybody.
Yes.